This is a conversation with Anisa Ismail. She's an educator, entrepreneur, YouTuber, and author. Building on her years of teaching experience in the UAE, she founded KidzUnplugged, which is an initiative that aims at providing alternative activities for children and their families that does not involve technology, in the hopes of saving generations of lost childhood before it's too late. In this conversation, we discuss digital well being, screen addiction, early childhood training, social impact, and Somalia. This is no time. If you like what you see, then do hit subscribe on YouTube. I don't know why you haven't done it yet. The people who don't do it are going to get long, angry emails from me. I said what I said. If not on YouTube, then you can also follow this channel on Spotify or rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We are nearly 30 episodes in, and I've been doing all the work, the shooting, the video editing, the sound editing, and the interviews itself, which kind of really explains the average quality. Once a disappointment, always a disappointment. So if you like to see me improve the quality, then do consider making a donation on Patreon. Thank you to the people who continue to do so. And the more donations you can give, I can hopefully get better equipment and also hire minions to do the work for me. That's a good message, I hope. For other forms of love and support, you can follow this channel on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, wherever you like, or follow me personally. And now, this summer, it's no time. Among Indians, there's this common joke that when a kid goes up to his dad and he says, I want to be an I want to be an actor, cricketer, or a rounders champion like you, a footballer, the dad says, first become an engineer, then you can do whatever you want in life. You, when you were young, you went to your mom and you said you want to be a police officer. And your mother said, I did not raise you to do a job where I can't sleep peacefully at night. So you squashed that career.
She was like, stop it.
Yeah. So you went back, you reviewed your options, and you said, now I want to be a firefighter, as you do.
Of course.
Yeah. And then you had this back and forth with your mother, and finally you decided you want to be a teacher. Yeah. Another job, just like a police officer, like a firefighter, where you give back a lot to society, help a lot of people. But in this, your mother can also sleep peacefully at night.
She tries to, because in this, she was like, I thought she was going to stay in London and do that, but she left the country. But yeah, I think the core for me was always like, I didn't know it precisely then, but now I know more, that I always just kind of wanted to help people.
So that's where my first question is. Where do you think this desire to help people and just to give back to society right from a very young age came within you? Do you think a part of it stems from the fact that you were born into a large Somalian family, you were the first child, single mom raised you, and a part of you always wanted to stand out amongst 5 siblings and also give back to your family, to your mother, and that also translated to giving back to society?
Yeah, I feel like definitely being a part of a big family, like it stems from that. But I also feel like because we were born outside of our mother country, Somalia, we were always kind of told that, or taught, should I say, that there are people that are less fortunate than us. There are people that can't be what we have, or can't be where we are, can't have what we have. And my mum always kind of instilled in us to really give back in whatever way you can. And I also realized at a very young age that I'm not the best when it comes to giving gifts. Like I just, people they give amazing gifts. Even as an adult, I'm not really good at giving people gifts, but what I'm really good at, and I realized that as I was growing up, was that I'm good at giving people my time. Like if I'm with you and if I'm around you, like I just want you to enjoy your time. So that translated into helping people, being around people. And then obviously there is, I feel like, no better fulfillment than being a teacher and getting the next generation kind of ready for their lives. And with working with kids, it was just such a pure joy that I found, because they're at that age where they're curious. I'm a very curious person. They love to have fun. They're joking around. They don't take life too seriously. So I feel like it just all meshed well. That's where I feel like I got to where I got to right now.
Well, that's the best gift you can give to children. Well, apart from, I guess, gift vouchers.
I mean, they want sweets and ice creams and stuff, but like.
So your time and sweets would be a great gift.
Yes, I could do both. I could give you the ice cream, but like, that's all I could do.
You did touch upon a part of this stemming from the fact that you are from Somalia, and because of that, these values were instilled within you that a lot of people might not be in a advantageous position. So I want to explore that a bit further. When you moved to Abu Dhabi, you got this huge culture shock, and you called your mother one night and you said, Hoya?
Hoya is mom in Somalia.
Hoya.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm teaching you Somali at the same time.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Another gift of language as well.
Gift, I'm telling
at the
you,
same time.
my time.
So, and you called your mother and you said, how did you do it? How did you move to a completely new country and start a new life all over
with
again?
kids. Like I just did it single, but she did it with like she had 4 at that time.
Right. And she said you're already in a more advantageous position than I was because you always have the option to come back home, which is a very powerful statement at the same time. And it really shows you the sacrifice that she and obviously her family had had to make for sure. So what I want to check with you is what is your current connection with Somalia? This is a country that's been torn apart by a civil war over the last few decades. How do you view the country? Do you feel a sense of detachment because you never really got a chance to live there or get exposed to that culture? Or do you still view it as a cultural root for your life and your work and your personality?
I feel like everything I'm doing right now is in preparation for whenever I return. It's always going to be home, right? I can go to any country in the world. And when I've traveled to many places and they'll always ask me, where are you from? If I don't open my mouth, I'm African. They just look at me. They're like, oh, where in Africa are you from? Like, it's visible. So I always start and say I'm Somali first. And then I say I'm British or whatever else. So for me, I just feel like it's important to use the things that I have right now as a preparation because I work with kids. My biggest dream, inshallah, one day, and I know I'm going to do it, is to go back, knock on every type of wood we can, is to go back to Somalia and set up a really good set of like schools and nurseries. Like I'm very big on early childhood education. So I would love to set up like my own set of nurseries in Somalia, which inshallah I'm going to do. I always say, speak everything into existence.
Manifest.
So I'm just here manifesting. Also, my mom's kind of retired and she's basically moved back. So she's always kind of instilling in all of us, like, there's your home is always here. And before my dad passed away a few years ago, he built like a family home for us in Somaliland, which is the northern part of Somalia. And he was kind of like, whenever you guys are ready to come, this home, this land is yours. So it's always going to be there. I just don't want to go back empty-handed. That's my biggest fear, is to go back there without anything. And that's not fair. For the time I've been gone, I don't think it's fair to go back and be like, I'm home, and then not have taken anything. And like I said, I'm not really good with gifts, right? So I want to go back and give my time and give everything that I've learned in the best way. So, inshallah.
Interesting. So you say you've used the words go back home for a country that you never really stayed in at that point. You were born in London, I believe, and you grew up all your life, but you still consider Somalia as the place where you will go back home.
Because it is home. As much as we're displaced and we're in different parts of the world, whenever my mum talks about it or my dad used to talk about it and stuff, it's just the smile on their face and like just the fact that they found that to be like their pride and joy whenever they spoke about it. And it was even more embedded in me that is home when I moved to the UAE, right? It was crazy for me to meet people in Abu Dhabi and they'd be like, oh, you're from Somalia. Like, oh my God, Somalia was one of the countries that helped build the UAE or helped us with this and helped us with that. And they speak so highly of the Somalia that my parents spoke of before the war, before everything. They talk about the relationship that the royal family had with, Somalia and everything. And it just brings so much pride. And also the fact that the UAE is about it's going to be 50 years old this December. And the fact that I've watched the last 10 years a country basically build from scratch. It's just, for me, it just brought so much importance to going back. And even some of the clients that I hear, they'd be like, yep, this house is my grandfather's house. The house down the road is my uncle's house. The one down the other road is like this is their land. And this is their home. You see it more in Abu Dhabi than anywhere else, right? And you feel their love for their country. And it's just like, oh, yeah. No one can tell them that this isn't their land. Yes, I am British by birth and by nationality. But then I couldn't have the same love for the UK that I would have for Somalia. That I do have for Somalia. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And we all look forward to the day when you go back to Somalia, back home.
I'll for sure share it.
Please do. We're all staying tuned. So you grew up amongst uncles who were big fans of Malcolm X.
They love Malcolm X, yes.
Yeah.
But one in particular.
Shout out to the one in particular. So Malcolm X once said that education is the passport towards the future because tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And you've done exactly that. You are using education as a tool towards helping the new generation who will obviously spearhead the future. I believe you were in Vietnam when you were watching a group of kids play football with this makeshift football, and that's when you first got the idea behind Kids Unplugged. And the main theme behind this is to ensure that kids have a healthy relationship with technology because there's a massive influx all around them and it's kind of stealing their childhood away from them. And you created Kids Unplugged at that point, which is not even a category in the licensing in
No.
UAE. You created edutainment, so thank you for that. So the first question that rises from this is, where do you think we're heading with our relationship with technology? Do you think it's inevitable that technology will be a continuous part of our life? Or another way of thinking is it possible that in 2050 there would be a child out there who can have a childhood without any connection to technology and not be left behind?
I mean, that's a very deep-rooted question because there's so many scenarios that plays into that. And I think with the growth of Kids Unplugged and the Unplugged initiative and everything that I do, it's become more evident that technology is a major part of everyone's life. And it's only going to get more and more major with all the time that we have. What I implement and what I really, really, really focus on is the importance of digital well-being, right? So like you and I, we were just, before we started shooting, we were talking about like, you know, where we were born and raised and everything like that. But if we talk about our childhood, a lot of what you're going to tell me is play, you're outside, connecting with people, memories that even just thinking about it to make you smile a little bit. Even the less fortunate will always talk about like their childhood as being something that brought them joy. Yeah. And I feel like with technology and with devices, what they've brought is this ultimate disconnect for young kids, right? That their joy is deep rooted in the connection of something. So for example, a 2-year-old will not eat properly now because he can't eat without watching Paw Patrol or some type of TV show that he loves. Whereas a lot of our eating time was where we would learn about our different cultural foods, the different spices and different things. And then it would be the perfect time to sit as a family and eat. And that 2-year-old would spend time connecting with their family members and talking, right? Even if they didn't really say a lot of words, it'd be celebrated, it'd be connected. So not only does it take things away, it's really affecting the child's development. And that's where I come in. And I'm always kind of talking about, okay, how much of what they're doing is going to hinder their development for their next stages, right? So like when they're 4, when they're 10, how much of what's happening right now is going to affect them later on, because you don't necessarily see it now, right? With a lot of side effects, you don't see them immediately. I think the biggest side effect of technology is the disconnect that it brings to young kids. The social aspect of it, kids don't socialize with other kids anymore. They used to. They don't play outside as much anymore. They used to. So all of these things are because all these devices have now come in place of that. And that's where my biggest concern comes from in terms of like their childhood is being stolen. Like they are not having the childhood that they deserve to have because all of that is free. All of what I'm talking about is free. The devices are the ones that cost a lot of money to get, to download, to do all of these things. But it is free for a child to kick a ball around outside or run around outside or connect with the neighbors and have that confidence building and social interactions that they deserve to have. And then the other thing you were talking about is, you know, can children have a childhood with no technology? I don't think that we're at a stage right now where we can completely take away all technology. And I don't think we should either, because I always say when you take something away from a child and you say, no, you can't have this one, you teach them 2 things, either to become a stealer or a beggar, right? Because everybody now has it. So they're either going to go steal a device from someone or they're going to go beg someone for something. So you don't want to instill the bad side effects of taking things away from your children. So I always say that they should have access to technology, but it should be age and stage, their age range, I can't talk today. It should be for their age and stage of development. A 1-year-old or any child under 1 year old shouldn't have any screen time. But 1 to 2 should have 15 minutes a day. 2 to 3 should have 30 minutes a day. And then 3 to 4 should have an hour supervised a day. So all these things, there's a time limit to what they're supposed to be watching. And then when they are watching it, what's the content that they're watching? How is that benefiting their development? Are they watching something educational? Are they watching something with good use of language? Are they learning? Because they're at this age, especially when they're under 8 years old, where we call the programming years, where they're taking everything in, they're learning all these different behaviors, learning all these different things. And so when people play, let's say, for example, you've played a 3-year-old a new rap music video, and then you laugh and joke around when that child is now imitating what they've seen in that video. It's not funny. It's sad, because at the end of the day, what they're going to go do is imitate that to be something that was okay. Whereas if I watch the rap video at my 30 years of age and I imitate it, I know how to, utilize what I've learned. I'm not going to go to an office meeting and start sharing what I watched in a Cardi B music video, But kids don't know that. So all these mannerisms, these behaviors, these attitudes, all these things come from what they're watching and what they're seeing and what they're allowed to see. So it should definitely be something that I feel like parents should censor and should really take time into seeing. And I don't know if you've heard about that whole situation where they had that what was it called? It was like this digital monster thing that would come in halfway through a YouTube video. I can't remember her name. It was like it was an animation. It was a white face with 2 eyes and a like scary mouth, whatever. And she'd come in to these videos that kids were watching and be like, okay, kids, in like such a child's voice. All right, kids, now I'm going to want you to stand up and go find an electricity plug and put your fingers and like do these things that would tell kids. No, I'm dead serious. I'm going to find Momo. I think it was called Momo.
Was this a hack? Or?
It was, and it was on YouTube. It was on all these things. It was such a big controversy. It was 2019 that this had come out. And parents were freaking out because obviously these long videos that their kids are watching, if it's a 20-minute video, this video comes in or this person speaking comes in like 10 minutes, the adults are not likely to be in the room. Yeah, the first 5 minutes, the adults might be around, but afterwards they'll go and do what they're doing because their child is quiet right now. So you had all of these things that were happening. Mobile was just an example, but how many other things happen where they, kids can be accessed, or people can access kids watching all these different things, and then the content, if we don't listen to what's being said, kids are picking up all these different things. So digital well-being is incredibly important, and parents need to be really, really, really wary of what their kids are watching and how it's affecting them, not just now, but in the long run as well.
Interesting, you mentioned screen time, and so when you said when they're 2 to 3 years old, 15 minutes at best, how hard is it going to be to keep imposing that time limit? Because sure, we can put a screen time on when they're watching something fun like a cartoon or just something for leisure, but nowadays even what they study is going to be on an iPad. How they play as well might be these games that they play on iPads, or the VR system might come in where they start really playing with kids out. And I feel this is accelerated because of the pandemic, because everything's gone very virtual. So do you think this limit of, let's say, 15 minutes would be, can you hold that only for, let's say, leisure is 15, but then study time is another 1 hour on a screen or something of that sort?
Right. So you're right. COVID has exacerbated that. So now we're at a point where kids used to have school time and homework and all of that. But then because they're doing remote learning for almost nearly 2 years at this point, because a whole academic year and a half, it's harder to really manage that. So what I do say is, instead of focusing on how much time can they spend on a device, and I give the same advice to parents and clients, I always say we need to organize the time that they're not spending on the device. So focus our energy on what's around them. What can they do? What activities can they go do? Where can they go? Other things that are, again, cost effective, because everything always has a price to it. And parents are just kind of like, well, the TV and the iPad is just a cheap nanny. Coloring. I'm not a cheap nanny, but okay. But coloring and doing all these different things.
Price is relative. Price is relative. Yeah.
I know, it's really relative.
Yeah.
So, and I've got to be like understanding of that, right? Because we are in an economy where people will say like, okay, I don't want to spend 100 to 200 dirhams a week taking them to like these random action zone or like these random places that they're just going to be bored after an hour. It's really about planning their week and their schedules so that they're able to do things that they want to do. And the biggest thing I always talk about this, is that it's okay for kids to be bored. It's fine. Parents want to jam-pack kids' schedules and make them do this and make them do that. No, I always say embrace the boredom. Embrace it. Mom, I'm bored. Okay. My mom used to always say to us, I used to say to her, like, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. She used to like, spell boredom. She'd like, spell it. How do you spell boredom? And it's like B, or you don't know how to spell it, go find a dictionary. I just gave you a task. Go find a dictionary and find how to spell it. So now I've got something to do. Right? So
but how many times I'm sure at some point you would have gone to spelling
at some point I would have got it. Although she'd be like, okay, now like say this or do this or go find a book that has this. So inadvertently she'd find me things to do. And then when she was tired of my nonsense, she'd be like, okay, go sit in your room. Just breathe for a little bit. You know, like she was teaching us that it's okay not to do things all the time. Like it's okay to sit still and be still and just be, because that's when kids are the most creative. 15 minutes into being bored, children will get creative and they will tap into that thing. And this is the one thing that technology has taken away, that essence of imagination and creativity. Because a lot of these things are these games and it doesn't require a lot. So they're out here just, you know, doing or mindlessly playing these games. Whereas if they're sat at home or in their room for more than 15 minutes, they're going to go and find something fun for themselves to do. So once you cross over that time, it's fine. And then they'll get to a point where kids will choose. If you put a device or play in front of kids, when they're addicted to devices, they'll choose devices. But if you continue to diversify what they play with, they will choose play. They will always choose play because that's their innate nature. We teach them other things. We teach them about devices and we teach them about what else that they can use on a device or watch. But if you just gave them this or gave them options, they would always choose play.
There's so much to explore here. I want to dive back actually. One of the first few things that you mentioned was we have grown up in a home where we have actually seen the internet and technology come into a house.
Yes.
Because I vividly remember a childhood without the PC at home and without internet. Yeah. And then my childhood when the moment it came to my house.
Life-changing.
Do you think part of the reason why you're so passionate about this is because you've seen it? Because we are in this unique generation that's at the cusp, has actually seen technology and how the way it's impacted our childhood itself?
Well, yeah, I think that's definitely part of the reason. Majority of the reason is also because, you know, when you see children or when you're so embedded in children that could be so bubbly and have so much potential, but then they're just sat there on the iPad or sat there watching TV, it's sad. It makes me genuinely sad. And so like if I could rewind time and bring what we had to them right now, I would. But they need to utilize, because we just got this generation now, it's only going to get worse. We are probably the last generation that remembers, you know. So when you know these kids become parents, what are they going to tell their kids? What can they remind themselves? What can they remind their kids of? So I am incredibly grateful for our childhood. That's what I always say, like a childhood was very valuable. And there's only a certain amount of years in your life that you are a child, right? And we experienced it to the fullest. Nowadays, kids are not being allowed to experience their childhood to the fullest. And that's what makes me sad and makes me feel like if only you could see that you have the rest of your life to be an adult, to be sat on a device, literally. Yeah. Just enjoy the freedom of being a kid, the freedom of being curious, the freedom of being able to be free. No, like, you know, stress or anxiety or like tension. Because a lot of these kids nowadays are experiencing things at such a young age that normally they would experience at teenage level. Like they'd be playing, a 6-year-old can be playing a game and he'll be so stressed and so anxious because he's losing a game to a 14-year-old. Now these emotions, he probably doesn't even know how to voice or how to, you know, explain, but it takes a toll on his young body. So I always say, like, they only have a limited amount of years to be children. Let them be children.
Never really fully contemplated the amount of childhoods that are being lost to it. Because like you mentioned now, these kids, when they grow up, they would only remember a childhood which is filled with iPads and just games on the tablet and not a lot of physical games for sure. Because I vividly remember when the internet came to my house.
It was a party.
Yeah. And that's when I found out my real skills. So I started going to online gaming and I used to really play with these people from Latvia, Estonia, countries I never even knew existed. And I was learning new languages and cultures and also, you know, these gaming forums. I was an aggressive poster on those. That's where I first learned to like really write and communicate my ideas. Definitely learned a lot about psychology, sociology, but I noticed that in hindsight, when the internet came to my house, my real world socializing and my playing with my friends outside, that went on a complete decline. I just stopped doing that. And that was completely replaced by the PC. And then once, I think when I was in 11th or 12th grade, when I had a good, strong friend circle once again and started hanging out with friends again, then my gaming went down again. I just found that they never went together. It was all either one or the other always.
I'm so happy you mentioned that because that's literally how it is. That's literally because when you think about even how these devices are built, it's very one player oriented or one person oriented. And as much as there's the good side for you, like you were able to connect with different people, learn different cultures and stuff. It's good to see what we don't have around us, but it's hard for people to focus on the blessing of that when you're not appreciating what's right in front of you. Yeah, there are people that speak different languages and have different cultures, but that could be found in our own neighborhood, our own neighbors, our people at the park, people that, you know, that your kids can be friends with and have not only that connection with, but they physically can be around them, you know? So I feel like if that's not utilized and if that's not something that is established from the beginning, then it doesn't make sense. And then you have the problem that you had where it was like one or the other, and one overruling the other. Essentially, while you're a child, it's better for your interactions with your friends to overrule the time that you spend on your devices. But in your teenage years, when you want to go out and meet people and party or do whatever else you're doing, that time has already, you're a teenager now. What I always say is childhood is only for a few years. You only, as a teenager, then you probably have your first job, you probably do all these things that will then need a device. So for me, it's a little bit too late. We're trying to save the childhood. We're trying to save that 0 when they're born to 8, 9, 10 years old, that age range, from, I would say, forwarding and having like a smaller set of time for their childhood. Whereas as a teenager, you're fine. Like you've had the best of both worlds. They haven't, you know? So inshallah, we're able to make as much of an impact as we can.
So the most common argument or whatever people say against this is because naturally when I have a lot of family friends and you see the kids with tablets and they say this is the new time, this is like the modern era, and these kids need to grow up with technology because it's going to be all around their life, and the more they know it, better for them. And why they also say is because as parents they probably feel a bit technologically handicapped in a way.
Yeah.
Like I still convert PDFs into JPEGs for my father, and
Story of my life, yeah.
He needs to transfer a file from his phone to his laptop. He sends it to me, and then I transfer it. So I think they have this maybe a fear, a certain intimidation of the internet or technology. So they feel like their kids, if they grow up with the tech itself, then they will be a lot more comfortable because the future is going to be very tech immersive.
And they have every right to feel that way, and there is some truth to that. I definitely agree that there is some truth to like this is their future. One thing that technology does not have on us yet is the emotional connection and the social connection that we have with each other. Technology hasn't replaced that yet. It hasn't replaced touch. It hasn't replaced smell. It hasn't replaced taste. Yeah. All of these things need to be done with other people. So when a child spends let's say the first 5-6 years of their lives on the device, when they're supposed to spend that time connecting and building relationships, because these are the years that they do that, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, like nursery and foundation and year 1 and year 2 is the years where they build their friendships and build their relationships. If they skip that because they're always on their device and they don't know, you can't teach that later on. It's very hard to teach characters, and not even, I wouldn't say characters, I would say personality traits that include, you know, connecting with people and being open and being social. It's not something you teach. It's just something that they've picked up and they've learned being in that environment. A lot of people always say to me, Anisa, you're so sociable. You always like, you know, I literally can walk into a room and I don't feel like hesitant or shy, unless it's a dark hallway. We're not gonna talk about that. But like normally I don't feel hesitant or shy. And that's mainly because I spent a lot of my childhood with my cousins, my siblings, with my, you know, just connecting. And that now I'm at a point in my life where I can travel to different parts of the world by myself and I won't be afraid. So if you skip that, then we have a problem. So what I always say to parents who tell me, oh, it's the future and stuff, I always just say balance. Yes, let them learn what they need to learn for the future, but teach them now what they can't learn in the future. What they need to learn now is only something that they need to learn now. Connecting with people, socializing, building their confidence, having these skills is a now thing. It's not a later on skill thing that they can build. Whereas when they're playing with the devices or learning different, coding and robotics and all these, you pick that up later on in life. It's fine. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get more advanced. So focus on what we need to do for them now, and then we can challenge what they need later on in life for later on, is what I always say.
Do you think as an instrument of learning, technology is maybe superior? Because I feel putting 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds in front of textbooks and notebooks really doesn't. I don't
believe
anything.
In that either, though.
Yeah.
I don't believe in like either or. I don't believe in examinations and studying and all of that. And then I also don't believe in like the full on being on a device. I feel like the best teacher is life in itself, which is why a lot of the work we do with young kids is always immersed in risk taking, curiosity building. They do life skill building activities. So it's a lot of, right now, like for example, we're sitting here building blocks. Building blocks to you and I is just, we're building blocks, but for a child, we're doing math, we're doing spatial awareness, we're doing colors, we're doing all these different things in this one activity. And they're learning so much. So I definitely say learning, especially a hands-on approach to learning, is way, way, way better than the textbook, whatever. But again, with everything, balance. And you have to also learn and understand that everybody learns different. You and I don't learn in the same way. I'm a what they call a kinesthetic learner. I learn by doing. You might be a visual learner. You learn by seeing. So when you see young children, especially now because of the devices and stuff, have less attention span and they can't focus as much, you really have to tap into their style of learning and what is it that they will focus on and learn from. Okay, there might be the child that needs the visual aids, needs the textbooks and needs all of that. Might be the one that needs to actually sit down and make something, do something. So understanding and tapping into that, I think, is incredibly important as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I've lots to explore here for sure. This is, I feel that not many people really pay a lot of attention to. And you're right, because for them, if you just give a kid a phone, and I've seen that all the time in all these gatherings we go to, they just give the kid a game to play and he's just sitting in the corner, not making noise, not causing any issues, not breaking anything, and everyone's happy.
Quiet and everyone's happy, yeah.
Yeah. But I remember when I was young, I started weightlifting at a very young age because I had to carry these 100 kg school bags with textbooks that were so thick and like notebooks and registers. And the constant debate at that point was, are our kids' shoulders being burdened because of the weight that they're carrying? And then these kids used to get the trolley bags, and those are the posh kids, right? You never spoke to them.
Yeah, we don't talk to those kids.
But then when technology started coming to, I actually felt that if you can actually compress all of that into an iPad, then it's actually good, because they don't need to carry 20 heavy books like I did. They don't have to do the struggles that I did.
They have to have a whole suitcase of books. No, I hear you.
Yeah, so in that sense, I felt it was good. And then actually there's another, I personally went through this change in opinion, which is that when I was young, I used to read a lot of books, a lot of them. I was a voracious reader. And when I went to university, naturally, I kind of lost touch with it because university just swamps you. And whenever the debate used to come out about eBooks or physical books, I used to defend physical books like my life depended on it. Like, that's the hill I'm going to die on. Because, just the touch of it, or a new book. I don't know what about new books, but just the smell of it. It was like everything. A drug, right? So I was like, nothing beats a physical book. Now, after university, when I got back into reading again, I just found that ebooks were far superior. Like, there was not even a competition for me, because I could do so many. I could change the brightness, I could change the font, make annotations, jump around pages, look up definitions, look up ideas. And it just felt like the technology is so far ahead that now a physical book is so annoying for me, because I mean, you need the right lighting, you need the posture, and you lose your page, and there's no space to keep all the books, and it all adds up. So then I just did a complete hard left and went completely into ebooks, and I felt, technology can actually be quite beneficial in this case. And also in terms of the actual content itself, I felt I retained more. I mean, I don't know what aspect of it, maybe just the font or just supplementing it with pictures and ideas really helps me retain more information than the physical book.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like when we talk about things like this for you and I, we're speaking from a place of privilege. because we were privileged enough to know the difference between and experience either or, right? So when I speak of children of nowadays, I always say, like, you have to look at it from their shoes. Imagine they did not have the privilege of the childhood that we had. Then you see everything differently. Then you'll just find yourself being like, no, they need to experience the book. Decide later on what works for you. I understand that as an adult, you can decide that later. But as a young child right now, given the option of Kindle, the book, like, I'm not gonna tell them to go and get like a whole bag and put loads of books and like run around and be burned. And I remember when I first moved to Abu Dhabi, I saw a small little girl. She must have been like 3 or 4. She was running for the school, but she was short. I think she was 3 or 4, but I'm assuming she was like 7 or 8 because she was running for the school bus. Her bag was bigger than her. And she was just like, right? And I was like, let me just help her. So I grabbed the bag and I helped her to the bus. But I just remember, like, why does this little girl have to have all these books? And I get it. There's extremes of things, right? Naturally, we're not accustomed to being used to either or. But when it comes to young children, I always say, let them experience it in the most natural state first. A book is a book. Like even bedtime stories. Like one of my friends was like, oh, my child is addicted to the iPad. So what I've now done is that bedtime, I downloaded Kindle and I read the story off of the iPad. And I was like, well, does he fall asleep instantly? She's like, no, it still takes him a while. I'm like, because his eyes and his brain is still wired of that, the lighting and all of the things that he was seeing, that he cannot register sleep yet. Whereas if you...
No knocking things.
No knocking things. I can't afford to replace it. Whereas if you read a storybook, the intimacy of reading the book to him and the pictures and the voice, the tone of your voice and all of that will most likely help your child fall asleep quicker. And they're able to, again, tap into imagination and they'll be thinking and dreaming about the things that was discussed in the book. So I always say, try the first in its natural state first. Let them experience that. And it's kind of like, remember how our parents, I don't know if you have siblings, but like my parents always give us like the hand-me-downs of my siblings. So they can't have these devices if they haven't experienced what life was before then. So just hand them down what we used to have before devices came.
Don't tap into this trauma of a younger brother.
Yeah.
Oh man, younger brothers you're the 5th child.
The 5th, like there's a loads. The hand-me-downs came through. I think the first phone I had was probably my oldest brother's phone. Like that's how much it got handed down. So yeah.
Let's not start that.
Let's not go there. That's another topic for a podcast another day.
Yeah. Because there's only a visual of me going to my mom and be like, Mom, look at my score. And she's like, oh, I don't care. I'm just going, Mom.
Just cry.
Well, the brother's just doing average stuff and they're like, oh, what a beautiful.
Oh, we love him. Oh, yeah. He's a superstar.
He's a child prodigy.
Yeah. Failures. I'm telling you, failures.
It's everything you mentioned is very, this is something I actually haven't explored so far and it's very interesting. And of course, this is something people should focus on. 3 practices that I found from your book and your workshops and your talks, I want to highlight here. And I would love for you to expand a bit on it, why people should do, why you suggest they do this. So the one was, which you mentioned earlier as well, was that kids should not eat while they watch something. Why do you think that is and what effects does it create?
So it's very straightforward. When children are eating, especially at when I say children, by the way, I'm really talking about the age of 8 years old and under. That's what I'm focusing on, right? So when a young child is eating food, if they have gone from, let's say they start properly eating at like 3 years old, right? And their plate is like fruits and vegetables, a good mix. When they are numbnessly like just watching something and not paying attention to what's on the food, the very simple aspect of starting and stopping eating is gone. They don't know when they've started eating and stopped eating and all of that. There's a higher chance of obesity for young children because they're just, all they know is just to continuously eat, especially if they're watching something for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. They're just constantly eating. It takes away the aspect of enjoying that time of eating with somebody else, because a lot of us enjoy eating with other people, and that socializing time. And so for all of these reasons and so much more, it is very, 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 it's highly disliked when children watch TV or watch something while they eat. And even a lot of pediatrics have come out and spoken about it as well. And doctors have spoken about the fact that if you introduce this behavior of them having to watch something as they eat, it has a high risk of diabetes, obesity, and all these things linked to that disconnect. You know?
The second one you mentioned is that every device that your child has should have a purpose to it.
I will say that.
Why would you say that?
Talking from two aspects. Again, I'm going to touch on the whole privilege point, right? So, like, if your parents have worked hard and have bought an iPad for a 4-year-old, which I just think is crazy sometimes. But anyways, and you know what? Shout out to the parents, because sometimes parents will be listening to me and the things I've said, and it won't even be them. It'll be like the aunts and uncles of the kids who would do that. Like, they'll spoil them. Like, for example, I have 1,001 nieces and nephews. Like, imagine me buying iPads and stuff for them. I ask my, the parents of my nieces and nephews, like my siblings, if I could get them things. I wouldn't just purchase something. But there are families where they're so intertwined that the grandmother or the uncle, like, just give it to them.
They have good intentions.
They have good intentions. So I always say, whatever you've given your child should be purpose-driven, because when it's purpose-driven, it's valued. They are valuing what they have. They're able to take care of it. They're able to understand that this didn't come easy. It shouldn't be that the PS5, the iPad, the MacBook, laptop, all of these things, they cost a lot of money. It shouldn't come to them like as if this was easy. So I always say from a point of privilege. And the other thing is, when kids understand the purpose of what they've got, and they understand, like, okay, I have this laptop to play these games, they're able to negotiate when they can use it, when they don't use it, and what they use it for. For example, we mentioned before, if a group of friends are meeting up and one of them has brought their child, if the mum then pulls out the phone at that moment, and the child hasn't seen the phone or the laptop or the iPad or whatever device the whole day, then they've understood that the purpose is for me to just let mommy have her time with her friends, and I'll sit here and I'll watch or play whatever I'm supposed to do for the 30 minutes that was allocated to me for the day. Does that make sense? Yeah. Whereas if they were on it the whole day, there was no purpose to it. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't do anything. Sure. So I always say those are the two reasons why it should just be purpose driven and should have a reason for using these devices.
And the third one that you have here is, and this is very interesting, was that every kid needs to have an unplug zone or a creative zone within an house.
I would say that.
What are the advantages of that?
Just a thing that parents will always kind of say is like, oh, I've got them loads of toys. They've got loads of toys, but they still want the iPad. I'm like, I know they probably have loads of toys. I don't know any child that doesn't have a toy in their house. A lot of parents are really, and again, people buy them things like that. But I think if there's a space allocated, I don't even mean like a whole room or whatever, but say their bedroom has a corner that's allocated to them, and I call it the unplugged zone because it's a corner of the house or in their area that has no devices. It's giving them an option of what to do when they're not on it. Remember I was telling you before, focus on the time away of what they're doing while they're not on the device instead of 15 minutes is too short. It's going to be fast if they've got other things to do. So if you have that area in the house that they're able to go and sit down and kind of just do whatever they want to do, that authority that it gives them most likely will attract them to go there and do it. Because as a child, they're constantly being told what to do. Yes, no, sit, go here, go do this, da, da, da. But when they have that space, which is their space, you'd be surprised at how much joy it brings them, because it's the one space that they call theirs and they are able to be just themselves, And it's just teaching them from that such a young age that as they grow older in life, that when things are hectic, or because technology is going to be a huge part of their lives, to create these spaces for themselves wherever they go on in life, in their homes, in their workspaces, wherever they do, it's completely okay to have some downtime and to create your own downtime wherever you go.
It's all very fascinating. One thing I must comment is you've obviously spoken for all these practices and all these ideas in terms of kids, but I feel like this can all extend to adults as well. All ideas I feel, and I think adults are quite guilty of Netflix and eating something, or always being on the devices all the time.
Do you do it all the time when you're eating? Do you watch something while you're eating?
I don't actually.
Okay,
but this has been a way. In the past, I didn't as well. I used to always it used to be a mixing. I was never very conscious of it, but lately I've become very conscious of not watching anything, because I went into this thing of mindfulness. It was just like, just enjoy the food that you're eating and just try to contemplate, and that will be your meditative period for the day, and you'll also enjoy the food a bit more. Right. And I've also seen that nowadays, in particular, whenever I want to have a good meal or when I go outside, I don't even want people talking because
shut up.
Yeah, just let me process this. Yeah. Because I've got into fasting as well, and trying to control your diet. So your your few cheat meals are your few cheat meals in a week, right? You look forward to it the entire week, and you don't want to then, because of some show not even process that you had a great meal at the end of it. So I become very conscious of it. But
That's a very good point.
I feel all these practices can extend to adults, all of them. So the unplug zone in the house, there is one of the books I read said that you need to design spaces according to the habits that you have, so that you can then start creating. So if you want to read, then maybe you can create a spot for yourself reading next to your window or something of that sort, or maybe you have a lawn, or the rich people, if you have a garden, so you can associate good habits with those. And then the eating part as well, and also just the creative zone or the unplugged zone, or also the part where you don't need to have a device without any purpose to it. So when you're using your laptop, it's just for the work. When you're using your phone, maybe just for some work on that side.
That's like when it comes to adults, because a lot of people always say to me personally, they're like, Anisa, you're always on like you're on YouTube and you're on your phone and you post on your stories and you're the most plugged unplugged person that we know. And I always say, because everything comes with balance, right? So like for adults, like you have to maintain. And again, I can speak about adults and I can also speak about parents. Kids will not listen to what we say; they're gonna do as we do. So if I'm going to tell my child, okay, you need to go to Unplug corner, then if it's a lot more easier to convince them of that if mom has her own corner too, and if dad has his own corner. Does that make sense? So I encourage it. I always say to even my friends, everybody around me, to have that. And as much as, like, even if you don't have your unplugged zone, I always go on a monthly digital detox once every year. This year I actually took it twice already. That's how much of a year it's been. Where I sign off of all social media and then I just focus on just myself. So I'm not connected to anybody online. Everything is more centered around me and what I'm doing and my work and everything like that. So as adults, yes, we can discipline ourselves and put ourselves in a bit of a routine with our devices where it's not overtaking our lives. And if it does include having an unplugged zone in the office space or in your workspace, then by all means, go ahead and do it. I would love to start something for adults, like unplugged, like adults unplugged or something. I would love to explore that. Right now, the kids need me. Like
I will definitely sign up for Adults Unplugged whenever you bring
First
it
of all,
up.
when you're done with your robotics and everything that you're doing, then I'll help you.
Yeah, please do. I'm dying for the day when they open a KidzUnplugged for adults.
Listen, I've been saying it all the time. Like, we need it.
For sure. I mean, those kids, when I went in KidzUnplugged, I was like, oh, these kids have a better chance.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I just go there myself. Like, I act like I'm going there for research, but I'm going to play.
Can you share your pass with me as well?
I'll pass it to you.
I'll just go with the clipboard. And
I'm like, hi, we're just, hi, from the center of plug control.
Don't you think they'll notice that this is a giant kid sitting there, like acting like a police officer, acting like a firefighter?
A weirdo, like they just look. It's either KidzUnplugged or the Warner Brothers that we have in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. It's one of those. I just go randomly. Warner Brothers is just very nostalgic. I don't know if you've been to the Abu Dhabi one.
I have.
Sometimes I just go there randomly. They have a teacher's discount for 99 dirhams on Sundays.
What do you do there?
I go and play and go on all the rides.
I love.
Come on, they've got Tom and Jerry and Scooby Doo and like Warner Brothers. They've got all the things that we grew up around, and I love just going and actually just playing.
Actually, I love everything that is there for kids, which either shows that either that's not good enough for adult. Actually, because I don't like as many brunches and
there's only so much.
Yeah,
there's only so much brunches we could do, and I'm fed up. I'm like tired, So I get it. I definitely get it.
So I need to sign up for the teacher's discount, basically.
I got you. Don't worry. I'll give you my pass. I mean, you look like me technically, so I'll give.
What? Said no one ever. Okay.
Said no one ever.
Now in Sephora would say that.
Sephora, yes. Sponsor me, please. Okay.
Yeah, and me. Okay, so all very interesting, and I'm definitely want to keep exploring this, and I hope this starts the conversation. Just you speaking about it on this show starts the conversation, and would love to hear more about this.
Right. Do you want commission as well if that idea comes to fruition?
For sure. I think that goes without saying. I don't know.
I knew he was going to hold me accountable, but okay, fine.
Why is that even a question?
Okay.
In fact, by the end of this episode, you should be writing me a check. Why do you?
We'll think about it.
It's all on video. I expect hefty sums. This. What do you thought? This podcast is free? It's just
a lot of zeros.
Yeah, a lot of zeros.
I got
man.
you. Don't worry.
The gift of my time.
Okay, you're using it back on me. Okay, the gift of time.
Yeah, of course. It's
got
50,000 per second for you. The invoice will be in your email account.
Is it in rupees or are we doing dirhams?
Why would it be rupees?
I'm just trying to see whichever's less. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay, we'll do rupees. Even if it's 50,000 rupees per second,
Shillings,
we're still.
the Somali shillings, it's even
Yeah.
less. We can go lower and lower.
This is long form content, right? In an hour, there's so many seconds. Even if
There's-
I do 50,000 shillings per second, I'm pretty sure I would be earning
Look at
something.
him, he's
Right?
already thinking long ahead. Okay, I like that. It's no
There we go.
problem.
Okay, so before we start wrapping up, I also wanted to get your comments on Abu Dhabi.
Ooh.
For a long time, you've been vocal about putting some respect on the nation's capital.
Respect
Yeah.
on Abu Dhabi,
Put
please.
some respect on the name.
Yes,
So
please.
I want to get your general opinion on Abu Dhabi, and also I want to get 3 hidden gems from you.
Okay.
And we can segregate it in a way: one place for culture, heritage, one place to eat, and one place to relax. Places that not many people might know about.
I
that
don't
you
want to
really
tell
like.
them though.
Oh, that's true.
I'm lying. I will tell you guys. All right. So Abu Dhabi, it's a very biased opinion that I have of Abu Dhabi. Like it's just, when you go somewhere in life or you've traveled, there's places that just enter
What?
your heart.
What is travel?
You've gone to different
What
parts.
is aircraft?
What is that? What is an airplane?
Magic room.
We don't know what
I
that is
just go
anymore.
in and I get out, and this is.
We're
different
there,
stuff. Yeah.
the magic school bus. Yes, right.
Oh, I used to love that show.
Do you remember the magic
Of
school
course.
bus? See, but I read the books before I watched the show.
Oh, I didn't know there were books.
There was books.
Oh wait, this large colored books.
Yeah.
Oh,
Remember we used to have the school, like the teacher would read it for us and everything.
I even had the game actually.
You did?
Technology.
On the magic school bus. No, but Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Abu Dhabi is just the thing I love about Abu Dhabi is that it's such a humble place. There's one word that I could use to describe it, it's just really humble, because everybody it's kind of overshadowed by Dubai. Let's be real. Everybody always I'm talking about the international world, recognizes Dubai more quicker than they recognize Abu Dhabi. I mean, that's changing now, which I'm very happy about. But when I first came, everyone used to ask me, how's Dubai? How's Dubai? Or they would say, how's Abu Dhabi? I'm like, you just made up a whole place. And technically,
the crossover that no one expected.
like no one even knew, like Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
But technically, Abu Dhabi is an hour and a half away. It's 2 different cities, Dubai and Abu Dhabi. It's an hour and a half away. It's the capital city of the UAE.
Really?
Abu Dhabi?
Damn, I didn't
Abu
know.
Dhabi is the capital city. I'm reporting him. It's the capital city. So it's like people don't know that in the international
I
world.
thought Dubai was his own country.
Everybody thought Dubai
Yeah.
was its own country. Well, now that we have a whole border to come in,
Actually, true. Now it does feel
it
like.
feels like it a little bit. But no, the thing I think I love about Abu Dhabi is that people are there are so kind and so generous, and you really see like the culture of the Emiratis there. Like I don't really know if I see a lot in Dubai, but in Abu Dhabi is just, I've connected with so many of like the locals and the culture there, and it's just, I love it. I love Abu Dhabi, and I would recommend, if anybody's listening to this podcast or listening.
What do you mean by if anybody's listening to this?
Whoever
What
is.
does that mean?
No, I didn't. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say
just me and my 2 fans. Yeah.
that are outside the window, like
Yeah.
do supporting. No, I'm saying if
Quick,
anyone's
get out of this.
Can I save it, please?
Is anybody listening?
If anyone is listening and they are thinking of traveling,
Yes.
that's what I was gonna say. You let me finish. If they're thinking of traveling, I would say come here, come to Abu Dhabi.
So the 3 recommendations from you. One for culture, one for one place to eat, and one place to just chill.
Culture, I would say anywhere in. So Abu Dhabi is kind of big, right? So it's Abu Dhabi, the main city. It's a collection of islands, whatever, and then you've got the Western region. For culture, I'll always say Western region. So Liwa, Ruwais, all of those areas are just Medina Zayed, beautiful places, and they've kind of kept the culture and the heritage really intact. The homes and stuff, you can kind of see how they used to live. So I would say those areas. For food, food's hard because like I've got friends who own like cafes and stuff, and they're like, "You didn't plug us."
It's time to be honest about
It depends what you're into. Like what? Okay. You tell me an example. What do you?
Well,
like
I'll
to
be the worst example. I'm vegetarian, so yeah. All your food references are gone now. There.
They start with chicken.
How about like some good? Well, it doesn't have to be veg. You can just recommend. Don't worry. My 2 fans, they eat meat.
The 2 fans. Oh yes,
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
I would recommend, like, if you want like an experience, I would recommend like the Breath Cafe. It's one of those cafes that when you go into, it's just calming. It's blue. It's got really good food. Just a good vibe. Where else would I recommend? Oh, anywhere that has outdoor seating. So I love places that you can sit outside when the weather is nice. Not now. Now we're crying because it's hot outside. But anywhere that has outdoor seating when you're eating. And there's this area in Abu Dhabi called Baina Jisrain, between the 2 bridges. And they have like random hotels like the Ritz-Carlton or whatever. But like then they have this like area where it's just restaurants and cafes, but they're all like outside. I would say that's the hidden gem because I don't feel like a lot of people know about this place because people are not there ever. But yeah, that area, loads to choose from. There's some vegetarian options too because there's a couple of like different restaurants.
Why were you like, oh yeah, there is some vegetarian? Yeah.
Because I got some like vegetarian and vegan friends.
They've got 2 falafels for you.
Just 2 with hummus.
And salad for you. Don't worry. They've got it all figured out.
And the fatouche. You're all right. You'll be fine. But that area. And then what did you say? Somewhere to chill? Okay. So there's this place in Abu Dhabi. It's going to hurt my heart to tell you guys about it. But I have to tell you guys about it.
I get this feeling that you don't want to share it.
No, because I love it so much. And I just hate...
It feels like gunpoint. Tell us.
Yeah, that's how I feel. No, because I love what it brought to Abu Dhabi. So they opened it. So, you know, when the whole, COVID lockdown, so we couldn't go to Dubai.
COVID? What's that?
I don't know who that is. Somebody that came and changed our lives.
Right. Oh.
I was trying to be nice. We used to come to Abu Dhabi. A lot of people from Abu Dhabi used to come to Dubai to chill. Realistically, like it was just a good little staycation, whatever. So what Abu Dhabi did during the time that we were in lockdown is they built like these areas of this kind of parks and beaches and stuff in like random places. So there's this area called Saadiyat Island where I think they built this beach that's called Soul Beach, like your soul, SOUL. And like they did like a whole line of like cafes and restaurants. They wanted to basically look like JBR, but the beach is like, the crystal blue waters, the one that you see in like Maldives or like in movies, and like the white sandy beach. Stunning. Like it takes your breath away. Every time I go there, I just want to cry because it's so beautiful. I love. See? That's how much I love it. Like I broke the Lego.
Destruction already.
Just the thought of it. I love going there to chill. Now everybody's gonna come. I don't want people to all like take over.
They're gonna litter it. They're gonna
no,
destroy
they're very in Abu Dhabi. No, it's very strict. Like you gotta pay to get into this place anyway, so people are gonna think about it.
Oh, how much is it?
70 dirhams.
17 or 70?
70.
Oh, then for sure, yeah.
So people are gonna look after it. I mean, if you see it, you understand why. Like I charge people to get in too, and it's like they've built like these homes around it, so there's all these apartments and people live there and stuff. It's just from the name Soul Beach, it takes your soul away. The minute you go there, you just kind of like, wow. So that's what the recommendation I would have. If you ever come to Abu Dhabi, come to Soul Beach.
Wonderful recommendations to look forward to and some respect on the nation's capital for sure.
Please.
Okay, before we start moving to final questions, I'd love for you to interpret what you've built with the Lego.
So basically what I've done here is, I don't know. See, the thing about me, this really just kind of breaks me down in a nutshell. Normally when people build Lego, they build one thing, right? But because I'm doing so many different things in my life, I literally built like 3,000 different things.
Oh, I love it.
Do you like how I interpret it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Okay, but what do you think? This looks very unique, actually. I've never seen anyone build something like this.
I don't know. I think that, because I kept it all the same color and like the same thing, I feel like that would be like the boss ass building that people would build. That's like the next structure they're going to make in Dubai. I should get paid for this.
You should.
Does it look like a dope structure? I feel
it
like
does.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was actually trying to remember a building that it looked like.
Nope. It's one of a kind. So any architects who take this design, it's from me.
Shaping Dubai skyline. And then you have a miniature version of the same building right there.
Miniature version because that's like the Baqala and the Carrefour and like the little area right next to it.
Of course.
Then I have Soul Beach because I was talking about this while I was building it. And I feel like this, because I started off building this kind of thing, is very much what I feel like my business is, like so broken into different styles and breaks off into different things. Because I started with KidzUnplugged, right? And then I opened the center with the Unplugged initiative. And now I'm, filming the TV show, the KidzUnplugged show, and then the toolkit coming out. So it's like everything that's coming from what I started with just one thing, which was KidzUnplugged. And then these are like the support systems.
It all fits in perfectly. Couldn't have done it better.
I'm so proud of what I just said.
In 10 years, you're going to see this building in Abu Dhabi skyline.
Speaking it into existence, like I would say the Abu Dhabi skyline because, where else is better? On Soul Beach.
Why would you spoil Soul Beach? You said
there's a whole area behind it.
Okay.
That imagine your apartment is here and you're looking onto the beach.
I'm already imagining it. Do I need a visa for Abu Dhabi? It's a different country.
You do.
I do.
But I'll be your wasta, don't worry.
First, get me into Kidzania, then we
We've already got deals coming off of this one conversation.
You're going to write me a check as well, right?
Oh, he
Don't
just
forget
wants my
about
money.
it.
It's fine. I knew you wanted something. It's
Of
fine.
course, none of this is free. What do you think? Okay, so let's move on to final questions. What are some books, movies, or people that have strongly influenced in your life?
So I'm gonna tell you something random. I don't really watch movies. A lot of people like will ask me like, "What's your favorite movie?" I'm like, I only have like one movie that's my favorite, which is Love and Basketball, and it's only my favorite because the one movie I've watched 10,000 times. Right. But I don't really care for movies. I don't even. I don't own a TV. For the last 10 years that I've lived here, I've never had a TV in my apartment, so I just never watch it. But books, I'm an avid reader. I love books. What am I reading right now? Start It Up. It's a business. My bag. It's called Start It Up, and it just breaks down like the foundations of having a startup and what it entails and how you can basically be successful from your own startup. I love reading business books, but sometimes randomly I'll read like a random rom-com just to kind of like
We all do it.
balance.
We all do it.
Yeah. And then what did you say? People that have inspired me.
Role models. Yeah.
My biggest role model is my mom. I always say that. Like, there are people that I respect. Like, I have a lot of respect for Sheikh Zayed, Allah yarhamhum, the founder of this nation. I have a lot of respect for the things that he's done and the things that he dreamed of for this country and how it's coming into fruition. And an example of a world leader that he is. I have a lot of respect for him. Oprah Winfrey is another person I have respect for. That's a taboo of a subject because a lot of people are like, she did a lot of, but I just respect that she just stayed true to whoever she wanted to be. So I have a lot of respect. So there's people that are in the industry that I have like respect for, the well-known people. Yeah. But the one that like is my biggest role model every single day is my mom, because everything that she has sacrificed for us and has achieved is why we are where we are today. So, and she just continues to inspire me every day. Like, she's literally my best friend. I talk to her every single day. I was just talking to her before I came. May Allah protect her always. But simply because I feel like your role model doesn't always have to be somebody that's done so much, but somebody that's just led you on a path that just, you're able to look after yourself. You're able to fend for yourself. I don't think I would have had the courage to leave my home at 20 and move to this part of the world if it wasn't for my mom. I genuinely, for her support, her prayers, her examples, so she's my role model.
Yeah. Shout out to Anisa's mom.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Speaking of courage, there was a moment in your life when you went Bali, when you thought of your entire past, put it in a bucket, threw it all away. And
that story, since I shared that story, everybody always asks me about the bucket. Saved my life.
Yeah, and you asked God for a new life. Just wanted to get a comment from you on how hard is it when you are at the seemingly at the lowest point in your life, and then to throw it all away and start afresh. And today, look at you, more happy, more successful, more grateful, always on the upward slope now. How hard was it at that point? And do you have a message for the people who might find themselves at a low point in life?
You know what's so crazy that you say that? Like, now looking back, because of all the other hardships I've experienced since then, that was just a very pivotal moment of my life. Like, it was, yes, heartbreak. It was me trying to redefine who I want to be. For people who don't know the story, like, I was divorced and then I went to Bali to kind of, find out who I am. And I kind of spoke into a bucket and through the biodegradable bucket.
Important to mention that.
Very important, because people are like, you're just out here trashing the world.
My sponsors will pull out immediately.
Yes, sponsors, please.
Yeah, Sephora.
Sponsor us. But yeah, I kind of let it all out. But it kind of, I think, gave me the strength to do what I'm doing right now, because since then I've had challenges. COVID is one example. When I opened my space, because of COVID, we had to close it. I just was not able to open it again. And it broke my heart, because not only was I on the verge of, like, we were only open for 9 months at that point. I was on the verge of something amazing. And I had, staff and built a community. And now not only was I closing the space, but I just felt like I was letting everybody down. That broke my heart. So when I was at those moments, the low moments, I just felt like, number one, release is incredibly important. To release what you feel in a healthy way is by far a superpower that I think everybody needs to have. Because if you just feel like you are going through something, it just gets heavier and heavier the more you carry it and the more you protect it, and the more you fight it, just let it go. My love for Soul Beach is because that's probably the place I would just always go to and just kind of like release and cry and let everything go, because I just needed that. I'm a very, very much attracted to and attached to being outside when something's wrong, because when you look at the ocean and the sky and everything around you, you just feel like your problems can't be that bad when the creator of all these things is out here managing and creating all of these different things. So you kind of put your trust in a higher power and a higher belief. So anybody that is going through anything low or anything challenging or anything difficult, it's not that you go through one thing and then that's it, you're fine. You will continue to face challenges in your life. It's just how you handle them at that moment that defines who you are as a person. I always say that to people. And I always say that when you do feel like it's too much and too heavy and you're just like, I can't, seek help. Very important to seek help. Speak on it. Talk to other people about it. Pray to whoever you believe in, because my mom used to always say this to me, like, you're just too, like, whenever I'd get in trouble, I'd always be like, whatever. Like, I never feared anything as much as I fear God. And so when I say that, I say it in a way like, when you're going through anything and you fear, like, or you're anxious or you're nervous or something's wrong, in my heart, I'm just like, well, God is bigger than all of this. The God I serve, the God I believe in is bigger than all of this. And he has power to just switch it all up. So praying on something that gives you not only hope, but you can rely on. It's never let us down. Even our worst days have made us better people. Like you said, look at me now. I'm just kidding. Well, our worst days have made us better people. It just made it like easier for us to handle whatever challenges come our way. So now, whenever I do deal with things, I just pause, I let it out, I pray on it, and then I keep it moving. Always keep it moving. Always. Don't stay stuck where you are, especially if I think it was Steve Harvey that said it, if you're going through hell, why stay there? Like, I love that quote because it's true. Like, if you're going through it, why stay? Just keep going. And eventually you'll get through it. So
wise words from Anisa and Steve Harvey at the same time.
Yes.
Last two questions. What would you like your legacy to be like?
Oh, that's a deep one for me. Because I always talk about speaking things into existence. But my legacy, I feel, if anything was to ever happen to me and I was to leave this earth at an earlier time, I would want that what I leave behind is something that is of benefit. I don't care about money. I don't care about cars, houses, none of that. I would want the knowledge and the things that I'm talking about, especially when it comes to young children and their role in the world that they're in. And for us to really, really, as adults, as humans, take care of the way we are building our next generation of children. They are our future. And if we do not invest in them well, then we are not investing in our own futures. Right? They are our future doctors, engineers, everything. And when we're old and frail, we need to be satisfied that we've built, a generation of caring, compassionate young children who have now become our carers and our guiders, So that's what I would want my legacy to be, knowledge. I would want people to...
wonderful legacy to have. And I must say, Kids Unplugged, you're already on your way towards carving an excellent legacy. And we look forward to what you're going to do next. Last question. What do you think is the meaning of life?
Oh, that's a big one. The meaning of life, purpose. I think the meaning of life is to have purpose. I was talking about it just yesterday. But and this goes beyond religion, goes beyond everything else. I feel like if you do not have a purpose in life, I feel like you will be wayward and lost. It's important to have something to wake up in the morning for, something to live for, something to die for, something to stand for. And so for me, I find that when you find your truest purpose, you find your happiness, which is in the end what everybody wants to be, happy. So find your purpose. It leads you to happiness.
The meaning of life is purpose. Anisa, thank you so much. If people want to find you, connect with you online, enroll their kids in Kids Unplugged, or join you at Soul Beach, where can they do so?
Or sponsor me.
You can
find me most likely on my Instagram.
Which is...
Well, it used to be Anisa Unplugged, but we changed it to our full government name, Anisa Ismail. But we'll attach everything. I'll share it with you so you can attach everything.
I won't.
If it doesn't, I'm going to follow your page and just like, this is me.
We'll be sharing all the links. Anisa, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You're always welcome. Thank you for having me.